Okay, welcome to your 21-day wellness challenge check-in. We are going to talk about building habits today. I'm going to go over a brief PowerPoint, and then Alexandra is going to talk about, she's going to build up on that and talk about ways to build habits with occupational therapy. So, the 3 R's of habit. We'll start with reminder. Well, I'll go over reminder, routine, and reward. And so reminders are the cues or triggers that start the habit. So for myself, my alarm goes off at 4, and then I have my Bible out ready because my goal for 2025 is seek God first, and so I have that as a reminder. And then I have my workout shoes and my workout clothes laid beside that, so after that 15 minutes is up, then I get my workout in real quick. And so these are just reminders or cues that will trigger you to help build those habits. Routine is the action you take, and so the habits are built upon routine, meaning like I may not want to do it on a certain day, or I may not feel like it was as good as it was the day before, or I don't feel that's the point. The point of building consistent habits is just taking action through that routine, and then reward the benefit you gain from doing the habit. So that could be, if it's a nutritional thing that you're working on, or you're trying to, be really clean eating, you could reward yourself with a little sweet treat, later in the week. But you're doing that once a week, like on a Friday night, or, a reward for being active every morning is just feeling good and ready to go with your brain and your body ready to move. So those are the rewards from building a routine of like physical active. Or any questions? The power of habit. So it takes 21 days to build a habit. 3 weeks is all the time you need, which is why we have a 21-day wellness challenge. I've said this from the beginning. When we started the 21-day wellness challenge, it was a lot of activities were being taken place. Physical activity kind of seemed to be the focus even last year, and so really you can build any habit that you want, mental, emotional, social, by committing to it for at least 21 days. Start simple. Don't try to completely change everything in one day. Remind yourself that even after 2 weeks into your commitment, it can be easy to forget. And so I feel like that 2-week marker, once you get through 2 weeks, is when people tend to get tired, or the old habits, or maybe one would say not so great habits start creeping back in. So support is a big one. Letting friends and family know the changes you're working on as you develop better habits. So it's beneficial to have like a support system. So I always have a buddy or someone that you're checking in with. Could be your spouse or your neighbor, or myself. I'm always here to help keep you on track. Making it daily, consistency is critical if you want to make a habit stick. And so like I said, with that, you want to wake up, say you do want to wake up early. I'm going to take it back to starting simple. You don't want to try to wake up maybe an hour and a half early right away. You can start in 15-minute increments, because when I used to wake up at 6, I didn't just start waking up at 4 overnight. I went, I tried to 5:30 or 5, and to see how that worked with my schedule and when I should go to sleep. So I already went over those. So with starting simple, work smarter, not harder. Small ways to make your work more efficient. Use small everyday habits to build into bigger long term. This goes for physical fitness. If you've never worked out, you start small with small weights, doing more reps, and then build up that muscle memory. Same thing with nutritional habits. If you're not eating very clean at all, just try changing breakfast, and then stick with your same routine, because then you'll change breakfast, which then will go into bigger habits along the way. The support system, making sure that you let someone know, but also tracking your own progress. So what gets measured gets results. If you write it down, you can keep it in your notes in your phone. You can keep it in a journal, old school. There's plenty of ways to track with nutrition, physical, emotional, spiritual. And then extending the support to help counsel others always helps kind of keep you on track. So, as I'm coaching about building habits, and I'm still working on building my own habits. So, when you learn something and you get excited about it, sharing that with others, but also helping someone who may not be exactly where you're at, only makes you better, if that makes sense. So, make it daily. Starting a daily routine is one of the quickest ways to build a healthy habit. You can make a list. Jen and I always talk about we love marking off our list so even after I do my spiritual in the morning, that gets marked off, my workout gets marked off. Repeat what you have written down every day, and then remaining positive, as progress is worth the hard work. Like I said, after that 2 weeks, it's kind of maybe easy to become tired. Our bodies become tired, mentally become fatigued, and emotionally maybe. So, but having a big vision for your better self, these are some key points. Being patient, showing grace. We always talk about showing grace to others. We need to show grace for ourselves. We have some ice cream. Make sure you're moving a little bit more that day, or that you're focused on eating protein as that next meal. Focus on the journey, and the destination will be much more rewarding if you enjoy the now. We always talk about living in the right now, and then remember where you started and how far you have already gotten to. I'm sure this is not everyone's first type of challenge or, New Year's resolution or whatever you have, setting a goal and making sure that you work towards that goal every day to build that better routine, better habits. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit. Any questions, comments, concerns? All makes sense? Alexandra?
Sure. I'm pretty much just going to build off of that and talk about habits too. Building routines and habits is something that I talk a lot about as an occupational therapist. Most of the time it's because people, come from the doctor and the doctor tells them you have to change all of these things about your diet and your exercise. Go. And they're like, I don't know even when you start. How do you even start that? How do you actually change everything about how you've been doing something? And so it comes up quite a bit just that way. But I think also the things that we do, the habits that we have, contribute to our routines, the roles that we play in life, which is really your identity. So it's really important. Everything that you do is really important to just who you are. And I think that's, a lot of times we don't just have physical goals in January, but we have, all these goals that kind of go into who you are and the roles that you play, and those sort of bigger goals that you have for yourself. So I'll talk a little bit about habits. I read a fantastic book. I can't remember the name of because that's but I've really structured my habit making around this. So the big things, and you kind of went into this, but the big things, degree of motivation. So it's January, and we tend to have a lot of motivation in January. Or, your doctor tells you that you have some sort of diagnosis, or you just come home from the hospital. You've got a lot of motivation. Mm-hmm. So you're able to maybe take on something that's a little bit more difficult because your motivation is really high. Mm-hmm. So the other factor there is the ease, the degree of how difficult something is. So if something is really easy, you don't have to be that motivated to be able to do it, because it's easy, it's natural, it's just the easier choice. So sure, but the harder something is, the more motivation you have to have. And no matter what, this is just human nature. No matter what, that motivation sort of it just sort of declines over time. That So you have those two factors, and they kind of play with each other. You have the cue. So no matter how good your intentions are, if I forget, if there's not something telling me, oh, now it's time to exercise, I'm just gonna forget. So you have to have that cue, the alarm clock, or the your exercise shoes and outfit sitting right next to you. And then there has to be a reward of some kind. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, but it could be. But usually it's actually just like that it feels good. It could be as simple as that. So I'll give you an example. I used to be a morning exerciser, and I had it down exactly like that because I had built the habit. So I would wake up in the morning, I would drink my coffee, I would place the coffee in the sink, and that cue, placing the coffee in the sink, I would immediately go to my room, get my exercise clothes on, do my exercise. And I had built it that way so that it was not a thought. I didn't have to decide. It's just coffee cup goes in the sink, I go work out. Because if you give me the decision, I don't want to do it. So it has to be like that. Well, I changed jobs and I couldn't exercise in the morning anymore. I had to switch to the afternoon. Then all of a sudden it was, I walk in the door, well, I've got better stuff to do. That novel is not going to read itself. So I lost it. I dropped it off. So what I had to do was change it entirely to get back to that. I needed that cue, and I needed that lack of decision. It has to be habitual. So I joined the gym. So now I get in my car. I don't go home. Because as soon as I'm home, I've got other roles to play, and I've got other routines. So I go in my car to the gym. I take out that decision. It's just the routine. I'm at the gym. I gotta exercise anyway, right? I made it all the way there. That's actually the hard part. So the hiccup that I had was that at first I strained my back, which I do every once in a while. So if I had just gone and tried to pick up right where I was and lift my weights and everything, well, I wouldn't have gotten a reward. I would have gotten something negative. So I would have gotten that like negative cue saying, this is terrible, it hurts. So what I did was, I went to the gym every day and I sat in the sauna for 20 minutes. And I did massage gun, and I just had a fabulous time. And because the point is that it has to be easy, it has to just be there to build the habit at first. So I just had to get into that habit of going to the gym, and it had to be pleasant. Or I would have gotten the cue, this is bad, let's not ever do this again. And that's how I did it. And now my back is fine. I get in my car and I go to the gym and I'm building back up, and it's okay. And the habit is already there. So keep that in mind. When you're first building a habit, make it easy and make it fun. So if that means that it just takes a little bit longer to reach your goal, that's okay. Because what you're going for is building a long-term habit that'll be there for you when you have those, when your motivation goes straight down. Okay? Yeah.
That's good. I can relate to that. I used to work out in the middle of the day, like at 2 p.m. because I worked at the gym. So my body felt warmed up, like I was already kind of stretched out, moving. I didn't really have to focus on, working out at 4:30. Your body feels much different right when you wake up. And so I didn't work out for a few weeks, maybe a month or two, slipped in there. But so getting back into like when I wake up, I seek God first, and then my workouts are really using the massage gun first, foam rolling, like figuring out I'm getting back into strength training now, but it's figuring out like what feels best for me and like keeping that routine. And if I miss a day, that's where the grace comes in, and I just know that like I'm gonna set up my routine like flawless the next day. And and that goes with spiritual, you know, emotional. You know, if your goal is to, if you are introverted, your goal is to, you know, come to more classes that are social engagement, not just physical classes. I think that's what Alexandra was trying to say too, because each one of us have our own personal goal, and so it's being really mindful of what that is, and then putting that with the spiritual or physical or emotional or social pillar that we exercise here at Mason Pointe. So, any questions, comments, Sue?
To me, it sounds like then what I feel I have to do is manipulate myself or bleed. There might be
You're kind of on the right track.
There is a
That's
lot.
a way to
You're
turn
kind
it.
of tricking yourself.
Because when she's talking about motivation, I think, or even forgetfulness, right? Not everyone forgets. Not everyone forgets they need to work out. They just don't want to. So I think the people that actually remember, maybe that they're just motivation. And so the people that have the higher motivation, they have things that are trumping. And so I think it just, I think we're all in the same boat of a little bit of tweaking.
Yeah, you just
Tweaking yourself.
you trick yourself a little bit.
I like to do things early, first thing in the morning.
I'm getting there.
Yep.
I'm getting. I
Yep.
like it now. And even in the week, this past week, I had one day that I was a little too tired. I didn't get out of bed until 5. My alarm went off. I hit the snooze. It goes off every 8 minutes. But that was just one day, and so that's where I applied grace. And this morning was it before? Yesterday was 4. So obviously it was Tuesday, which Tuesday was a day. But and then you just go from there. And you just have to figure out what works for you and your circadian rhythm and your family life, and you know, just all the circles and the pillars.
Right, and I will say, it's easiest to put in the habit that you're trying to put in a part of your day that's already pretty structured, because that's when you're going to have that cue. It's just an easier time to slide something in there and put it right in.
You're saying when you're not as
No, when you're that part of your day that's pretty structured,
Right.
as long as you have that time,
As long
because
as-
that's when you're in that like routine mode. Yeah, but yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you guys for coming. Make sure you grab some snacks on your way out. We have plenty of stuff. Thank you.
Stuff.